From what I can see, even in religion, there's discrimination. Black people go to black people church, white people go to white people church in America. So I wonder if in heaven they will have a section for the white people and a section for the black people. This question is, who is going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? Who is going to stand up for black people?
African Americans and Latinos are continuing to be routinely denied conventional mortgage loans at rates far higher than their white counterparts.
Keep the fire burning any day, anytime, 24/7. Who will stand up for you, black people? Go back to your creator. Go back to your creator. Stop following demonic things. Stop following these pagan churches. Stop following these demonic pastors that have found themselves and joining all kind of lodge and all kind of demonic things. These pastors and all these abominable guys. Stop following those people. And I'm not talking about the false Jesuses that are moving around the place. In fact, there was a boat. One of the boats or ships that transferred slaves from Africa to the Caribbean and the United States. Perhaps. The name of that boat was Jesus. And I'm not talking about the various Jesuses that they have. They have devilish Jesuses that they have pushing around the place. Now, I'm talking about the one who died for the sins of men. So right now, we can't talk about Jesus loosely and just say Jesus no more. Because there is a lot of propaganda. Jesus Christ, our soon coming King. And I want to ask you a question today, a very simple, fundamental question. This question is, who is going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? Who is going to stand up for black people? Who is going to stand up for black people? Because black people have been oppressed for hundreds of years, for thousands of years. And nobody wants to appreciate or understand the situation of black people. He was one of those who was responsible for pouring wine for the king. Now it happened that one day one of his friends or one of his brethren who was still in the captivity area, the area where they were led from captivity, Jerusalem, he came to visit Nehemiah and to tell him some of the things that were happening in Jerusalem. Among other things he told him was that the walls were being burnt and the buildings were burnt, and that the people were living in desperation. He cried for his people. And because of the pain, and the king noticed that something is wrong with this guy. This guy is not the normal guy we used to have serving us. It looked like this guy's spirit is crushed within him. So the king questioned him to find out what is wrong with him. And he told the king, how can I be happy for the forestry? And he was able to get lumber for his project. And so he left and he went into Jerusalem to help with that, to help rebuild the damages that were done and to bring hope to his people. That we see that in the Bible, in the book of Nehemiah. I'm asking, who is going to cry for black people? Who is going to look out for black people concerning the situations that black people face on the face of the earth? Who is looking out for the black people? For the most part, religious leaders, it seems as if like a lot of black leaders are just out to just plunder their own people. Now, again, I'm asking a question. Who is looking out and who's going to look out for black people? Let me go first at some of these leaders who should be looking out for black people, but rather they are robbing them. I'm going to talk to you about the excesses that are taking place in some of these churches. We had a situation a few years ago where people like Creflo Dollar his actions were brought to question when he asked the church people, his congregation, to give him $65 million, send money for him so that they can raise $65 million to buy a jet. Now, when those guys do those things, invariably they already have one. But he will ask 65 million of sometimes very poor people so that he can buy a jet. Again, I'm saying, Creflo Dollar should be looking out and crying for black people. but he wanted 4 black people to give him money to buy a $65 million plane. Now, watch how these guys do not care for the people. There's an article, there's rather a news item that I'm going to play that shows that black people are being discriminated against when it comes to loans for housing and business. So I'm going to play that so that you can see what I'm talking about, and we'll continue.
And here on Democracy Now!, I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
A shocking new investigation by Reveal and the Center for Investigative Reporting has uncovered evidence that African Americans and Latinos are continuing to be routinely denied conventional mortgage loans at rates far higher than their white counterparts across the country. Reveal based its report on a review of 31 million mortgage records filed with the federal government in 2015 and 2016. This is Reveal data reporter Emmanuel Martinez speaking on PBS NewsHour about the investigation.
Here we have the likelihood of denial. So black applicants in Philadelphia are almost 3 times as likely to be denied a conventional mortgage.
Reveal found this troubling pattern in dozens of cities. Philadelphia was one of the largest.
In 61 metros across the country, applicants of color are more likely to be denied a conventional mortgage, even if they have the same financial characteristics as a non-Hispanic white applicant.
The Reveal investigation found the redlining occurring across the country, including in Washington, D.C., Atlanta, Detroit, Philadelphia, St. Louis, San Antonio, Texas. The report is being published as the nation is preparing to mark the 50th anniversary of President Lyndon B. Johnson signing the Fair Housing Act of April 1968.
The voice of justice speaks again. It proclaims that fair housing for all human beings who live in this country is now a part of the American way of life.
We're joined now by 2 guests. Aaron Glantz, senior reporter at Reveal from the Center for Investigative Reporting. His new investigation headline, Kept Out: How Banks Block People of Color from Home Ownership. And we're joined by Rochelle Ferrul, a 33-year-old African-American woman who was rejected twice by lenders when she tried to buy a brick row house in Philadelphia, where Reveal found African-Americans were 2.7 times as likely as whites to be denied a conventional mortgage. She was only able to buy a home when her half-white partner, Hanako Franz, signed on. At the time, Hanako was nearly unemployed and working part-time at a grocery store.
So you see how the black people are at a disadvantage because they've been discriminated against when it comes to loan to develop themselves. But yet one black man is trying to extract money from people to buy a $65 million plane. Now, based on what they were talking about there, based on the news thing, you can realize that the people are being put at a disadvantage. Now, there's a newspaper article. I don't know if it is a newspaper or magazine, but the name of it is called the HuffPost. The 11th of November, the 11th of November issue, 2010. There's an article there where that article was talking about the costs involved in actually establishing a bank. And it shows that it will, with $20 million, you can start up a bank in the United States, $20 million US. So it shows that Creflo Dollar could have kept his old plane and started at least free banks for his people, to serve his people. And invariably, most of the people who come to these main churches are black people. Because as from what I can see, even in religion, there's discrimination. Black people go to black people church, white people go to white people church in America. So I wonder if in heaven they will have a section for the white people and a section for the black people. I'm wondering how they think that thing is going to go on. But that is for another video. So you can see that these guys are not standing up for black people, because most of the people that come to Creflo Dollar Church are black people. And Creflo Dollar, if that money that you spend to buy that plane, you could have opened up free banks to make life easier for those people. Do you think Jesus Christ, Creflo Dollar, and the people who go to church there, and the other people who support them kind of pagan religion, do you think that Jesus would have a church, and instead of opening 3 banks for the people to get money to build their businesses, he would buy a plane for himself? Do you think that Jesus would have a expensive house in New York, expensive house in other state, all these expensive vehicles, and then people are suffering? Do you think that Jesus Christ would have poor people emptying their bank account to send money to rich guys? Do you think Jesus Christ would support that? But these are the things that these pagan Christian churches teach you. And people are easily fooled by race because this guy is a black guy doing those things, and people think that's why sometimes in certain areas, sometimes, man, the race self, it does not even matter. You just have to take somebody who's really true for something and let them handle a position. Because when you have tried black people and they seem to rip you off the most, again, who's going to stand up? Kobe, who recently passed away, one estimate said that he has 500 million, another one said it's 600 million. You know the amount of banks, the man could have just used just 100 million. He has 600 million, just use 100 million to open up banks for black people. That is why you have a situation where Jeremiah said, "Woe be unto the pastors, and who is a curse, woe be unto the pastors that scatter my flock." Because what happened is when a man see these situations where you have poor people in this church, you look and you see your great grandparents, your grandmother, your parents go to the same churches and all of them were poor, and you seen the pastor and his family just living off the cow and just getting fat. These things will, after a while, you'll get to realize that these things don't make sense. And what happened is you getting people rebelling against God because of these pagan Christians. And so these are the situations that we have. And again, who's going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? Who's going to stand up? Because a lot of these pastors are showing you that they will not stand up. They will not stand up for black people. In fact, they're showing you that they're going to rip you off. And not only will they rip you off, they try to manipulate God. They try to manipulate the King of Glory. It's not you they go try to manipulate. One of the strong tenets of the Bible, one of the things that one of the strong points of the Bible is that man and woman and woman, even when Noah was bringing the animals in the ark, he brought them male and female. He brought them inside of the ark. God created man and women to procreate and to have relationship. And at the end of the day, the system of the world governed by Satan, their God, is saying that that is not the way. Man and man supposed to be able to do their thing. And when they ask some of these pastors about that, they say they have no problem with that. In fact, some of these pastors are endorsing that because some of these pastors, you church people don't understand, some of these church pastors are gay. Some of these guys are gay. That is why they support what is going on there. You need to understand, some of these pastors will not stand up for black people because they lost. They are the property of Satan. They are devils. Some of these pastors, what fellowship does light have with darkness? Some of these pastors are members of secret societies. Some of these pastors are members of these black pastors, members of Freemasons, members of Elks Lodges, organizations of devils and Satan, blood drinkers, sorcerers and devils. And these people are leading the churches, and some of those people are actually the ones formulating the formulating policy for the church. And you people are there. And even when you see things not right, you stay there. You stay in those places and you continue to support them, in spite of the fact that you know that what is going on there is not right. Because you are brainwashed. If you leave their church, their covering will not be on you, and things will happen to you. Some of you want the covering of devils because some of these guys are agents of devils. They are agents of Satan. So the only covering they have is the covering of Satan and devils. You should be running away from them churches. Move away from them demonic covering that these guys have. But you in those things and you don't want to live. Revelation chapter 18 verse 4. It talked to you church people. It said, and I heard another voice. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sin, that ye receive not of her plagues. There are certain plagues that are going down on the people that are causing all this confusion. The Satan worshippers and those people that are working with devils to cause confusion with the people of God. There are people that are working overnight to form policies that will lead people to hell and lead people astray. And God is asking people to come out from around those people. Come out from Babylon. And you still continue to be in these people churches. They brainwash you. They control your mind. When they suck in your substance for generation, you are poor and they're rich. You think Jesus would be flying around with planes while you all are hungry in the church? When Jesus Christ ministered to those people and there were thousands of people in the mountains and they were far away, he asked who has bread, who has fish, and he made those things multiply. Because whereas the disciples wanted them to go away, he said no, he can't let them go away because he didn't want them to faint on their way. Jesus Christ was careful and he was concerned about your situation, your health. He was concerned about your meals. And all of those people want to buy planes. They have Lamborghini. They have all the expensive vehicles. Let me tell you something. For years, for generations, some of these churches have been collecting money from poor people. And poor people have problems getting loan for businesses in America. And one bank can be started with $20 million. And these guys take everything for themselves. Now I'm telling you that. And do not be confused. I'm not saying that you should not be giving money to the house of God. If it is the house of God, because most of these things are not the house. I tell you, it is very important to give money into the house of God. Because the work of God needs money to do it. You need to pay bills. You need to do evangelism. You need to send out people to preach the gospel, and money is needed to do that. So if it is that you're not going to give money for the work of God, you are going to cripple some of the things that are that's supposed to be happening. There are people that are supposed to be receiving the engrafted word of God, and they cannot receive it because there was not enough people to go out and do evangelism. So anybody who's going to come on radio, television or whatever and tell you not to give money to the house of God or to support the things of God, these are liars and agents of devils. Because millions of dollars are being pumped into demonic things. Gay organizations. One of the reasons why the LGBT people are so powerful is because they have money. Companies pump money into those things to do. They have them now dressing as women in women clothes and going out and read books to children in libraries to try to seduce the children into get into this lifestyle from the time they're small. There's this guy named Porter who dresses like a woman. On top, he dressed on top like a male and at the bottom like a woman dress. He dresses typically like Baphomet. The man moves like Baphomet. And these are the people that they want to go. These days he is now on a Sesame Street gig. So if you listen to these things, do not let your children watch Sesame Street. Again, I'm asking, who is going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? The black people who are supposed to be there to look out for black people, they are pushing themselves to be gay. And again, I was telling you about the situation where it takes $20 million to start a bank in the United States. When you look at all these guys, these athletes and all of those guys, these guys have millions of dollars. Kobe, who recently passed away, one estimate said that he has 500 million, another one said it's 600 million. You know the amount of banks, the man could have just used just 100 million. He has 600 million, just use 100 million to open up banks for black people. Michael Jordan, all of these guys are multi-millionaires. Oprah, all of them have money, and yet still the people suffer in their country. Black people cannot get loans to do businesses because they have been discriminated by the mainstream society. And you have all these black celebrities with millions of dollars. They have cars that they cannot use. When they show you their cars, all of them have multi-million-dollar cars, and they have fleets of cars that they own. And the people that are suffering like them, it is because of the suffering of black people that Michael Jordan and all of these people that are making money were able to be in those situations. But they believe it is by their own strength. It is because of the people that were picking cotton in slavery. While they were working and singing, they were praying that their generations would have a better life. And when those guys get an opportunity, a lot of these people, a lot of black people, what they do is, when you see they reach a certain level in any field, they get into demonic organizations like Freemasonry and all of those things. They join the side of Satan, and Satan did not come to help. Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy. So that is why a lot of these celebrities and all of those people, they will not put their money to open a bank to help black people, because they're on the side of Satan, and Satan did not come to help you. Satan came to steal, kill, and destroy, and his men will not come to help you. So you see why you have all of these guys with all these millions of dollars on the face of the earth, black people, and at the end of the day, the people dying and starving. There's this guy, Don Cote or something. He's one of the richest people in Africa. And what is it that these fellas are? Besides just giving somebody a job, they may do little charity work for the taxes. And these rich people, when they do charity work, most times it's for their taxes, so that they'll pay less money in taxes. But these people do not look out for black people. And for any one of them to rise, it is always the black people that has to support them in the beginning. Support them in their sports and different things. And at the end of the day, when they reach a certain level, they don't want to see them. And again, I'm asking, who is going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? We have a situation where certain guys will go to Africa. They will sleep at the best hotels. They will drive their Land Rovers for hours to go in the bush. When they reach in the bush, they will take pictures of tribal people running around half naked. They'll go to poor areas and take pictures of poor children with malnutrition and flies in their mouth. And they'll go back and make their documentaries and their movies and say, this is what Africa is about. They did that for generations. So invariably, a lot of black people growing up thinking that this is their legacy and this is what they have and this is their strength and this is the only thing that is known about them. So what they do is they have used this system, this media, to make black people feel like they are inferior. Who is going to look out for the black people? Who is going to look out for them? Now, I'm trying to tell you that one of the ways, in order for people to manipulate you like that, there are forces that you can see and there are forces that you cannot see. And a lot of people, the simple ones, there are a lot of simple-minded people who believe owning what they can see. But what you cannot see is more powerful than what you can see. A lot of the things that are controlling black people are controlled by demons and strongholds, demonic powers, demonic forces that are keeping them that way. And there are people that are actually getting involved in blood sacrifices to enforce strongholds against people. And the only way you can get out of that is through the same Jesus Christ that some of you people insult and curse. Let me tell you something. Black people need to spend more time in prayers. What I see happening, a lot of black people as pagan Christianity that is going on now, that they throw the baby with the baby water. They don't want God no more. So what a lot of black people are doing now is they are going now to worship the same gods that the Father tell them that they're not supposed to worship. When you look in the Bible, you will see a lot of this Astaroth and all these other gods that by name, Molech and all of these gods, and God asking them do not sacrifice your children to Molech. Now, a lot of black people are getting into worship of these same gods now. They're going to worship some of the same Egyptian gods. They're going into Kemetic religion, Kemetic thought, Kemetic philosophies, and the same gods that the Father warned us about. A lot of black people now are going to the same God. Why? Because they have been deceived and misled by the pagan Christianity that is going around in these churches. Again, I'm asking, who is going to stand up for black people? And what I'm going to say is, regardless of what it is that you have done. All of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. No matter how much you have done, there is nothing that you have done that God cannot be forgiven. And I'm asking every black person to go back to the Creator of heaven and earth. He sent his son to die for your sins, and that is the way that it is. And if his son did not die, we would have had to kill goats and offering and animals for our offerings, and some people would not have been able to afford all of those things. I'm asking every man and woman, black person, and every other person on the face of the earth, you need to go back to the Creator of heaven and earth. You need to ask his son that died for your sins, you and I, to forgive us from sins and cleanse us from all unrighteousness, no matter what it is that you have done, no matter how many people you have killed or whatever it is that you think you have done. He is able to forgive you. And go back to your Creator. Go back to your Creator and stop following this fake religion. That pagan Christianity that is going on in the Catholic Church, in these Pentecostal churches and on these other churches. Do not partake in those things. Run away from those things. These things are Babylon. These churches have been corrupted by pagans. Pagans thousands of years ago and even now have come into those things. Right now, a lot of pastors, there are pastors that I know of personally, they are in Freemasons. So this thing has been contaminated. I'm asking you, who is going to stand up for black people? Who is going to stand up for black people? But first of all, we need to go back to our God. We need to go back to the Creator and the possessor of heaven and earth. Black people, go back to the Creator. Stop following demonic religions and demonic ideology. Go back to the Creator. So a lot of this suffering will stop. Go back to the Creator. There is more I have to talk about, but for now, go back to the Creator. Humble yourself before Him, and great things will happen. The time for the deliverance of black people is now. But we need to go back to the Creator now. The time has come. Who's going to stand up for black people? Who is going to stand up for black people on the face of the earth? In Africa, in the Caribbean, in America, in Europe. Who is going to stand up for black people? Who is? I'm asking you to go back to your Creator. Go back to the Creator. Stop following these fake religions. Stop joining these Freemasons. Stop joining these ex-lodge and those demonic organizations. Stop joining those things. Go back to your Creator. Black people, go back to your Creator. Who will stand up for black people? Who will stand up for you, black people? Go back to your Creator. Go back to your Creator. Stop following demonic things. Stop following these pagan churches. Stop following these demonic pastors that have found themselves and joining all kind of lodge and all kind of demonic things. These gay pastors and all these abominable guys. Stop following those people. Go back to God. Right now, you do not need a high priest. Because of the death of Jesus Christ, you can go straight to the Father. Black people, go to Him. It is time. It is time.